Hi Silvarret, it's Guys again, and I want to start this tutorial right off the bat with some explanation about terraforming. Right, so there's actually a few ways you can go about doing the terraforming of a coaster, but one way I actually really like doing, a lot over the very common way of doing it, is something that I have no name yet, and I don't know if there's actually somebody who came up with a name for this method, but the way it works is first you come up with a shape for your hill or whatever it is that you're terraforming, and then after you've done that, you're going to smooth it. So it's kind of like this, but then of course it's going to be more precise since you're going to work with larger shapes. Now the reason why I actually like doing this a lot is because the other method that you can use is the create a hill or a create mountain or a create whatever you're creating method via the creating hill thing inside RCT3 3, but the problem you get here is that you're very prone to getting these very pointy kind of hills like these, and especially with the mountain making thing where you really get these things that you can stab someone with to death, and I don't really like seeing these, and it's actually one of the big newbie mistakes that people often make, that they use this way of making mountains, and it's not really the best way to go around doing it, especially when you want to have paths on top of those mountains. And that's why today I'm going to add some little terraforming around this little area with the corkscrews, and later on I'm going to place a path on that. So I want to start off by just raising the ground about 4h right here, and as you can see this is going to be a bit messy with the corkscrews, but we can fix this later on by using the smoothing tool. And I want to have a path around these around the curve right here, so I'm going to raise the ground. That should be about enough. I don't want to raise it a lot more because I don't want to have too many stairs going on. This should be about good for now, and the entire idea here is that it's going to be a bit of a foresty area, at least that's what I want to go for. A bit of a foresty area with pathwork around the right here, and some semi-tunnel sections right here with walls on the sides of these tracks. And the first thing that I'm going to have to do is smoothing. So I'm going to smooth it right here because what I want to have is I'm going to have the exit path right here. So I'm going to have to go underneath this piece of track so I can add, for example, a staircase over here. And that means I will have to smooth this area before it's going to look too square and man-made. Right, so now this actually already looks a lot better than what we just had, because it's of course a lot less blocky, but we still got some problems in here, which is not very good. And what we're going to do over here is actually not what you might expect. I'm going to lower the ground instead of actually raising it so that it'll fit. And I'm going to do that over here as well, though let's not do that yet. I actually need to smooth it a bit more, so never mind that. I need to smooth it just a bit more and make it a bit more hilly again, and then smooth it again in order that it's going to be the way I want it to. It still needs to be a bit more smooth. When it comes to smoothing in RCT3 3, and I really can't stress this tip enough, you should really smooth as much as you like. There's no such thing as too much smoothing unless it really affects the shape of your mountain, but you really need to make sure that you smooth things up, because all those little sharp ends that you get, they are not realistic and you don't really want to have them in your scenery. Right, so with that out of the way, yeah, I think that's about good enough. So again, I'm going to lower the ground right here and over here as well, and I'm going to do that for every spot, just so that the track is just touching the ground, but that's not really a big issue right here. Right, so I just keep doing that for every one of them. And the plan I've got right here is, I'm saying right here way too many times, why do I do that? But anyway, the plan here is just to add some walls on the sides of these things, which is something you commonly see with B&Ms. Especially if they've got some terrain interaction going on like there is over here. Terrain interaction is always a good thing. Even if you've got a simple B&M sit down going like this one, terrain interaction is never a bad idea. Just want to stress that as well. Right, so it seems like I can't really make that higher, so I'll just have to do this. Now that looks pretty good, except I don't want that to be like that. Now if you've got some problems with terraforming, like over here, this area is all squarey because there's this large curve right here, you're just going to have to remove that curve, then take the smoothing tool and smooth it out, and then it should be fine. Which is something really stupid, but yeah, you can't do anything about it, so you'll just have to deal with it. But when you remove the track, you can terraform. So if you've got some things that don't look very smooth, I always recommend you to remove the track, smooth it out, like so. Oh, though that's a bit too much smoothing right there, I didn't want to smooth that. And this is going to be a bit of an issue, because I can't raise it, so I'll have to remove this track as well. Right. And now I can actually smooth it. Okay, that's a lot better. And then I can build it again, and then it should look good. So yeah, I kinda like that. It's just some very small, minor terrain interaction going on, but just because I wanted to have this path go around here, I still have some way of not having this big valley in which the coaster would run, but also have some small terrain interaction going on, so that I can actually add some little walls just to, yeah, make the entire area look a bit less boring. I can now see though that I still have this blocky area going on, so I'll have to remove the track right here, smooth it out a bit. I have to remove this track as well. Okay, then smooth it out, and then we're good to go. And I guess I might as well add these walls already, and explain to you why I just like these things. They're kind of like the thing, the wall thingy that Kumba has. I think it's called Kumba. It's a B&M sit down. I know that for yeah. Well, anyway, I think, yeah, I'm kind of digressing here. You need to get some walls from Moby's. What is this set called? Moby's curved walls. Those are the best walls for this kind of situation, and they have the best texture, and they also have pieces that fit almost every single wall situation you can get. But right now all I need is the straight conforming walls, and I think I'm going to make this color right now, even though I don't really have a theme yet. It's just a very neutral color, which is what I would always, yeah, I would always recommend you to use either gray or light brown or dark brown perhaps, but nothing too fancy, no very vibrant colors or anything, unless you're making something really stupid or weird. Right. That still needs smoothing. Oh well, I'll do that later on. But I hope you can actually see the idea right here that I have. And you can keep this area underneath here as grass, but you can also just add some little pavement thingies. All depends on what you want. I might actually add a pavement later on. But this is actually one of my favorite terrain interaction tricks. Just a small wall along the sides of the coaster. You can also use this for tunnels underneath paths and basically anything. I might actually add that somewhere along the track as well, but I'm not entirely sure about that. Right, so now about smoothing this little part right here, because it's not looking very nice. That's a bit better. But this little area doesn't really seem to want to conform. Oh well. I'm just going to have to raise everything around it then. Right, so now it's all good. Yep, perfect. So that's it for the terraforming. That's actually all for now, but I'm going to add some terraforming in a different area as well. I think, at least I think so. I might actually add it in here as well, just make it a recurring theme along the coaster. You don't have to do this, but I just feel like doing this right now. Oops, I'm lowering it. Isn't that a bit too high? By the way, also when it comes to making these things, I always recommend you to use even numbers for the height of your hills, just so you can add staircases, because most staircases go up about 2h. Plus, I don't know why, but I just noticed that somehow it looks a bit better when you've got even numbers going on when it comes to terraforming. Right, so now this may look a bit weird, but when you smooth it out, things are probably going to be about 2 times as low as they were before, so that's something you'll have to think about when you're doing these kinds of things. Also, this is not looking really great, so I think I'm going to remove that looping, because it's ruining everything. And as soon as you have removed that, you can smooth this area out, no problems. And then you can add a looping again, and it should be fine, although right now it's not really working. Well, that's a bummer. I smoothed it. I guess I shouldn't smooth it out that much. It's still a bit too much. Well, eventually it always works in the end, because every time that you smooth it too much and you build again, then you're going to lower it again until you get to this point where it's nearly perfect. But I think, yeah, I just killed it in the end, so that's not really nice. I have to smooth that a bit, but then it should be good. Right. Oh well, that's a bit hard. I'm still ruining it every time. It's not really good. It usually works out a bit better than right now. I don't know what's going on. Right, so we got it in the end, so that's nice. And now I want to create some little, whatever you call those things. I really have no name for this thing at all. If anybody knows a name, because there may be a name, because it's actually a real technique they use for real coasters, well, that'd be awesome if you could post it in the comments, but I doubt that it's actually having a name. Right, so you just want to have it go around the coaster, but just not touching the track. Right, so that's all looking good. Though I'm not really too sure about this. It's good enough. No, it's not good enough. No. I'm going to have to remove this looping because I want it to be a bit more smooth. Didn't smooth it out over here yet. Right, that should be good. And half loop. Perfect. Now I could just smooth out this area around it a bit more, but other than that, it's pretty much done. And of course, this is not really good terraforming, but this is just the terraforming around the coaster. Like, that's another tip I want to give you. Before you go to the real terraforming, like adding mountains everywhere and that kind of stuff, I recommend you to do the terraforming around your coaster first, because your coaster always messes with where you can build mountains, and it's always a pain in the bum. Let's say bum. Well, let's not be too. Well, yeah, never mind. But yeah, I just recommend doing that, because otherwise you're going to try to make mountains, but they'll be ruined by your coaster track, because the terraforming module in RCT3 is very annoying. But I think that's about it. I mean, this won't be too much of a problem. So thanks for watching this short tutorial on just some terraforming tricks. I'll add some walls to this later on, just like I did over there. And in the next episode, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I think I'm going to start on the station. So till then.